Hello friends, Patrick here. It's been a borderline absurd amount of time since I've been on this YouTube channel, May 2023, so I apologize. I know you've been all broken up about it, probably have support groups in action, but I am back in action, unintended sort of whatever the English term is there. So we're going to talk about the Niagara real estate market. We've got all kinds of resources and tools and things to help you understand what's going on out there, what happened, where we're at, and where we're going. So let's get started. If there's anything we've learned over the last 6, 7, 8 years is that you can't expect any year to repeat itself the next, because we've seen apples and bananas and tennis balls and rocks and sort of everything in between since sort of 2015-16, when the market all of a sudden started to change shape every year. So with that, 2023 kept in line and did its own thing and surprised us in all kinds of different ways, some good, some not as good, and then something in between as well. So we're going to talk about a bunch of it today, but I didn't want to get too deep into it. So I wanted to stay at the big picture, the pricing, the supply, and trends on that sort of thing. And then give you somewhat of a summary of where I think we're going to go, but also just point you down in the description of this video are all kinds of links and such that will bring you to the stuff that's informing what I'm talking about here today. Sales 2023, if you have not been keeping score, 2023 was a stinker. It was a record low, the worst year. The Niagara board formed back like in 02, 03. So since that data has been kept track of as the Niagara Association of Realtors, the lowest annual sales, 6,087 sales for 2023. To put that in perspective, the 10-year average sat at 7,850 sales. So we're 1,800 sales off of the 10-year average. The second worst year on record was 2008. Remember that global financial meltdown? We were worse than that year. So we're going to talk about the whys and hows of that, but that gives you some perspective. What's fascinating for me too, yes, fascinating, I'll use that word, is that 2 years ago, or in 2021, we had the highest number of sales of all time, 10,049 sales in 2021. So we went from first to worst in 2 years, which, again, I'll use the word fascinating. Okay, so let's keep going. So sales are one thing, they were weak. How was the supply, the active listings? Well, there's two ways to look at it. One, there's going to be more listings in general because things aren't selling. But how many more are there? Is it a typical amount of new listings in the general market, or is there more people trying to, quote, get out because they think something worse is going to happen? I'm not entirely sure, but I do know that our active listings numbers were at the highest rate we've seen since 2014. So roughly a decade that we saw those active listings at the numbers that they were. So to give you an example, 2023, we ran between 1,650 and 2,800 active listings per month. That is higher than normal. We averaged out about 2,200 for the year on a month on an average basis. But really, it's such a moving target. You usually look at it just month to month. To put that in context, going back to the 2021 year and how opposite it was, the lowest that I found running between 400 and 900 active listings per month in 2021. And if you remember that market, it was the polar opposite of 2023. So who cares about the number of active listings? Well, who cares? You have frustrated sellers who are trying to sell. They also might be frustrated buyers because they can't buy until they sell. It's more for sale signs. It's buyers having more choice. You go out and see 10 houses tonight and you go see 8 more tomorrow and 17 on the weekend. What am I going to do? It's like going into a Baskin Robbins. I don't know about you, but I find it stressful. I'd rather go into an ice cream shop that has, 12 flavors. It's like the 12-page menu at a restaurant. I love a good restaurant where it's just on one page. Here's the 7 things we do. Oh my God, I'm going off track. Anyway, you get the point. So what caused this low number of sales and these higher active listings? It was obviously, as we all know, it was tied to interest rate, right? The Bank of Canada raising rates 10 times over 2022 and 2023 to bring down inflation. So I'm going to show you this graph right there, and that's just simply showing you the number of active listings and the number of sales for 2023. And you can see that things were looking pretty good. We were feeling good about ourselves. We had a little bit of a strut, a little bit of a waggle. Is that the right word? And as soon as the rates got increased, even only 0.25% in June, 0.25% in July, we saw it instantly change, and you can see the active listings went up and the sales retreated. What most people care about is pricing. What is my house worth? What's that house worth? What's grandma's house worth, right? So whenever there's low sales and high listings, yes, of course, price comes down. So there was a direct correlation to the interest rate hikes. Again, they were only 0.25% in June and July, but there was a direct correlation between pricing and those two little wee hikes. We started out 2023. This is for all of Niagara. 640,000 was the average in January. We sort of snuck up 670, 700, 723, 740. And then those rate hikes kicked in June and July. We went 740 to 720 to 680 to 660 down to the I don't know what it was, 630 or something in December, something underwhelming. But again, symmetrical because we started the year at that 625, 635, 640 range and we finished it at the same time. And again, when you see things ramping up, there was no interest rate hikes. Really, it was the only time of sustained growth in average sale price in Niagara in the last 2 years was in that February, March, April, May time frame when the rates were held. And then again, they were increased. And then boom, you saw the price do what it did. So numbers wise, what did the average sale price do in 2023 compared to 2022? It was down 11.2% in 2023 compared to 2022. However, I'm going to put some serious music here because this is the part I want to get really clear with and explain and hopefully make sense of for you. 2022 was a bonkers, didn't make any sense year. It was two distinct halves. The first half of 2022, the average sale price was $840,000 in Niagara, $840,000. The second half of 2022, the average sale price was $695,000, $840,000, $695,000 the same year. That's unprecedented, right? So the average sale price for the entire year was $784,000 in 2022. So yes, 2023 at $695,000 was down 11 point whatever that is percent. However, as I mentioned, the last 6 months of 2022, $695,000. 2023, the annual, $695,000. So really, we've been running at a similar level for 18 straight months. If you take that camel's hump of early 2022 off the table, out of the equation, things look a lot less wonky. But it was really even the first 3 months of 2022 that were so outrageous that really skewed, messed up the soup for everybody. So a bit of a misleading headline when you see prices down 11.2%. As usual, there's more to the story than just that. And of course, we can't look at average sale prices in Niagara or anywhere in Canada without looking at interest rates and how those impacted what was going on. So this graph, it's a bit messy here, but if you go to the blog or you go to our website and you see all of these things I'm talking about, you can see a much clearer version of it. But you can sort of see the idea. All those vertical lines, rectangles, are all the interest rate increases from 2022 and 2023. So there's 10 in total. And you can see the impact when you look closer at the graph. You can see just the incremental or the compounding impact that they had on average sale prices. And then again, that slight, hey, we have some life here in early 2023. And then the June and July increases, which brought things back down again. So that one's kind of cool. Again, it's hard to see here. When you go to our website, you can have a really, you can zoom in to your heart's content and have a really good look at it. And just for sports, let's look at the average sale price in Niagara going back to 2002 right here. Now, you can't see the exact numbers, but you can certainly see the trend. You can see how sort of lackluster everything appeared to be from 2002, really for 13 years, 14 years, until we got into that 2015-16 when things started to ramp up and ratchet up and we felt everything completely changed as we've all been experiencing over this wild ride for the last little while. So that's kind of cool. So if you bought, in Niagara, yes, it's Niagara wide. So if you bought a bungalow in Smithville, or a home in Niagara Lake or a cottage in whatever. It doesn't relate exactly, but it gives you the overall trends. So if you bought in 2007 or 2013, whatever, you can sort of have a look at that. Again, much easier to read on ye old website. Links are down below, but otherwise I just thought I'd share them with you. So yes, sale prices were down last year, but when you look at the big picture, 5 years ago, 2018, the average sale price in Niagara was $419,000. 10 years ago, it was $262,000. So all things considered, for the most part, the market, I think that bump that we had and where we're at now in this sort of volatility is sort of the market finding its way back to where perhaps it should be. Okay, that's it. Holy cow, I'm so proud of myself. Usually I'll do these are 17 minutes, and I don't know how long this is going to be, but it is not that. 2023 in a nutshell. Market confidence started to improve as we got into the May-June months. The Bank of Canada showed up with 0.25% increases and brought the not just pricing, everything just sort of got pulled back. Market confidence took a punch in the gut. Active listings got up to record highs where we had the highest active listings in 2023 in a decade. Sales pulled back to record lows, 6,085.87 sales. We hadn't had that low before. Prices pulled back, but again, all kinds of variables. And the year as a whole just sort of limped to the finish line. But enough of that. What can we expect in 2024? Well, market confidence, I think market confidence can only be expected to improve. It might not right away, but over time, because there's a ton of optimism and hope out there. The Bank of Canada, we're hoping that they're going to hold rates through the spring. There's all kinds of speculation about decreases, whether that's in May, June, July, September, whatever the case may be. But at some point, there will be an easing of interest rates, not a huge decrease, but an easing. Active listings, we expect to see them return to normal levels or towards normal levels, not running at such a high level, perhaps more in line with what a balanced market would look like. Sales, we don't expect them to return to the 10-year norm. However, they will start to approach back towards that rather than running 30, 40, 45% below normal. Maybe we're 20, 15, 10% below normal, which, trust me, would be great considering the last 18 months we've just had. Average sale prices, I don't expect any miracles to start the year, but as we get moving ahead, yes, they will increase. There's another piece to that too. Average sale prices typically do increase in the spring anyway. And there's all kinds of reasons for that. So even just statistically, the natural trends of a market, the prices should increase. But the fundamental value of a home as we get into February, March, April, May, June, we should see improvement there. And it's not going to be this racing, crazy, exciting ticker tape parade year, but it's going to certainly, I think, have a much more better stroll than the limping to the finish line that 2023 was. Our expectation is we're going to see a modest, improved year. There's all kinds of guessing on average sale prices. Is it up 3, 4, 5, 6% this year? 6.95, 5% would get us up into the 7.30, 7.35 range. Is that a reasonable guess? It's a reasonable guess. So that's exactly what we'll do is we'll say somewhere in that range. I've been wrong a ton before, so come back in 366 days and you can tell me how I did. Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate your time. All the links to everything are down below in the description of this video. As always, love to see you. I do intend to get on here a lot more this year. It was just one of those things last year. So stay tuned. Subscribe if you have not. We'd love to have you back. And if you have any questions, comments, thoughts, theories, you're always welcome to put them down below or reach out to us direct too. Okay. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Take care. Bye.